Yeah, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Brandon Bonanza podcast. I'm so excited today. We have a lot of big things going on today. I'm sure you guys are aware, and in preparation, I have to admit, I shaved my head. I just cut all my hair off. It's just gone. So you guys have to deal with it. Gone. Can you believe a Brandon Bonanza with no hair? I don't think anybody believes me. I don't think so. But I'm going to read today's quote. And I have, and then I'll bring in the guest. We have a guest, everybody. I wasn't just punking everybody. I wouldn't punk everybody. Come on, that's all right. Today's quote. Now before I get into too much, and you guys might not be able to see all that, I apologize because the Zoom chat head pop window thing, whatever, might be in the way, but that's all right. At least you get to see my smiling face. So today's I was looking for quotes about eclipses, and I found one that was in reference to the solar eclipse in Thebes, allegedly on April 30th, 463 BC. I should say BBB before Brandon Bonanza. I'm gonna make my own calendar, and I'm gonna. All right, let me read the quote. We'll get into how I'm gonna make my own calendar. ABB is gonna be after 2014 when I started my show. All right, today's quote's from I think it's Pinder or Pinder, a Greek poet. Beam of the sun, O thou that seest from afar, what will thou be devising? O mother of mine eyes, O star supreme, reft from us in the daytime, why hast thou perplexed the power of man in the way of wisdom by rushing forth on a darksome track? Art thou bringing a sign of some war, or wasting of produce, or an unspeakably violent snowstorm, or fatal faction, or again some overflowing of the sea on the plain, or frost to bind the earth, or heat of the south wind streaming with raging rain? Or will thou be deluging the land, cause the race of men to begin anew? I in no wise lament whatever I shall suffer with the rest. Ah, yes. All right, guys. I mean, obviously, I was lying about my hair. All right. I mean, I think if you saw me with like bruises all over my face, and then maybe my hair head was shaved because somebody forcibly did it against my will. Speaking of forcibly doing it against cutting my hair against my will, I want to bring in today's guest, the fabulous Sarkastik Worlock. I have him here today to talk about the eclipse. He has, we're going to get into this later, but I'm going to tease it now. He has intimate knowledge with the eclipse. And I'm really excited about it, like really firsthand knowledge. But before we get into that, we're just going to kind of chat, see how everyone's doing, check the mood of the situation. It's a big day today. So I'm really excited. So what's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. Looking forward to it. It's a big day. It's a big day. So
Yeah.
that quote you had, it's pretty interesting. Um you ever wonder why the ancients would always jump straight to like it's a sign that something bad is going to happen? Like why is that? I mean, I suppose I don't have a ancient Greek pagan worldview of things. But it seems like if there's a deviation from the norm of nature, it's automatically like doom. This is our doom.
Yeah, like what were they doing? You know what I mean? Like what kind of guilty consciences that they had did they
Yeah.
have, that they looked up and they're like, "Oh shit, we're in trouble now."
Uh-huh. Yeah, the only signs of the gods, it's sort of like when you're a little kid and you hear your dad's truck pull up, like, oh crap, and you start like stashing everything that you guys were up to, and maybe he won't notice that I broke the front door, and you know, it's like, oh
Oh,
no, the gods are here. We're screwed.
no, that's a great analogy if you think about it this way. Like, so every day your dad goes to work, he comes home at like 6 p.m., but then one day it's like, 2:12 p.m. or whatever, and you and your friends are up to whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear that car and you're like,
And you got to run as fast as you can with a big can of gasoline because You're a little dude. You can't carry this big thing everywhere. But there you are running with a big can of gasoline. And you tell your brother, like, put the lighter back where you found it. And, just hoping that you don't get in trouble for trying to burn things.
I'm having flashbacks, right?
Right?
Like 1985 or whatever. We just allegedly, of course. I mean, it's so long ago, but I probably can't get in trouble. But my friend, I grew up in Connecticut, like in the suburbs. Definitely like kind of white trash adjacent. My parents are great though. They were young though, and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so my friend, his parents were a little older, but they were from the sticks of Pennsylvania, out near Pittsburgh, out there, but like in the woods. So they were just country hicks. His dad had a bass boat. It was great. We used to go fishing. His dad was like sponsored by Sluggo. You know what I mean? Like this
Yeah.
is Lunker City, baby. I guess they knew the people that started it. Whatever. Anyway, so why was I bringing up my friend? Oh man, this is hilarious. I
Running
started
away with gasoline.
running away with gasoline. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So his
think of my
dad,
friend every time.
I do. But instead of gasoline, his dad had a bunch of shotguns and guns. He had this giant elephant gun, and of course we could find a way to find the key when they were gone. Not that we would ever shoot anything. We would just kind of look at the guns. But we did take a bunch of because I guess he had black powder too. He would reload. So we took a bunch of shotgun shells, which I don't advise doing, and we took a hacksaw and we sawed them open to take out just the gunpowder. We weren't making we weren't making like grenades. We were just making little pipe bombs. And we made this well, I should say I just watched everybody. I was watching for dad coming home. And so he had this nice little pipe bomb. It was just like a little looked like an M80 kind of. And I remember I had my first job interview was at this grocery store, and we were sitting around, and I had to go to this interview later in the day, and we had these new neighbors in the neighborhood. It was a few streets over, and my friend's like, you know what? Fuck those people. He's like, we're blowing up their mailbox today. I'm like,
Oh,
what? He's like,
oh,
it's going, baby, it's going. So I unfortunately, well, I guess thank God because I had an alibi. I had to go to a job interview, and it was only right down the street the other way a few streets. So I'm walking to this grocery store, and I hear like the loudest bang, and it was so funny. I wasn't there, but my friend, obviously I was going to a job interview, everybody, but my friend said that the guy came out and was like, this must be a sign from God. So I
whoa.
think it worked. His mailbox wasn't attached to his house. It was like a far away thing. So nobody was hurt. But did I just self-incriminate myself? I'm a comedian, everyone. This is
No,
comedy.
no, this
Yeah.
is this happened in Minecraft.
so, so
You're a
yeah, I
Minecraft
know a
guy.
lot about like parents coming home and we're like, oh shit. But to bring it back to what you said, I think that is pretty hilarious because he's talking about deluges and resets and all these things. So we
Yeah.
read and we're like, yeah, maybe that's what's going on. And I'm not saying I'm sure this realm has its resets, but what I'm thinking is, maybe there's other people that know that some people would get really fearful of resets or even just talk of resets.
Yep.
So you could just create this whole fake history, and then anytime the sun darkens, everyone gets scared because of that fake history, right? Or whatever it
Yeah,
is
dude.
heard.
Yep. I think about the scripture in Revelation. I wish I could remember it verbatim, but I think about it all the time. So that counts for something, right? But uh they it talks about the when they see God coming and the fury of his righteousness and all this, that even some of the elect grow fearful and withdraw away from him and run. And I think that just kind of fills me with wonder sometimes. And maybe it's not so great to be fearful of everything. I keep thinking about, like, what are the qualities? What are the finest, highest, most noble qualities in a man? What is an aspect of um state of being or character that you look at the proudest in men, right? And you're like, I'm glad I'm a man because of that. What do you think? I mean, obviously the penis, right? But let's go past that.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. No, go ahead.
Stuck on the penis. I For me, stoicism. To me, it's stoicism, the ability for things to happen and you not fall apart, like even if it's good or if it's bad, that you're able to be as the mountain that yeah, sure, events can happen that can completely destroy and level that mountain, but until that day, the mountain stands unmoving, and it just is. And this is one of the qualities that I think that as men tend to get more feminized in this age that we're in, and really lean into the whole. Let me tell you my emotions, and I'll have conversation with you about my mental health, and then I'll tell you about all the things I'm afraid of. What's been lost in this is the masculine sense of stoicism, where you can weather this, that you've weathered worse, and you'll weather this one too. And if this storm brings you down, then so be it. That's the will of the gods. But as of now, I haven't died yet. As of now, I am immortal. But maybe one day, probably one day, it'll be the end of a hero, right? And that will be the time where it's not like I'm not standing there going, "Oh shit, oh shit." Hopefully, that's what I hope. I'm not freaking out at the end because hopefully I've practiced stoicism through this. And that's one of the things that you'll never find in a story of a hero, where the end comes and he squeals like a pig. You know, and I know that I'm talking very like big about death and all this sort of stuff, but what of that can we apply to daily life, and what of that can we apply to, like, solar events or signs in the heavens or any of these other things? Why is it that the mind can so easily go to, oh shit, God's mad at all of us, I guess we shouldn't have done that thing that we weren't supposed to do.
I love all that, but first I just want to tell everybody tune in later, 2:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where Sarkastik Worlock and I will be talking about all of our feelings and everything that we're scared of.
Yep, yep. I'm going to be bringing up some of my mental health issues, and we'll get to the bottom of those together. We'll all just bear in, and everyone has a sledgehammer. We've talked about the penis, so
Oh, shout out to everybody. Speaking of penises, all the great men, we have some great women in the chat too, but shout out Tony, who's the first one in here, Dylan, Zerolath, shout out to Nicholas Viella. Oh man, hope everything's well. I'm sorry we haven't talked in a while. I love you guys. You get it. I just been busy with a lot of crazy things. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. This is great. Dissident Jones, Val, all the normal people. But yeah, no, I think what you said is great because like what everything of what you said, I think the most understated of all that is, even how much we talk about to not be afraid when fearful things are happening or whatever. But I think the most important thing is to not freak out when things are going well, to not like
yes.
get so excited and so like up there, because when you get to that high, you have to like hit those lows as well. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't enjoy life or anything that you do, your accomplishments and stuff like that. But I think the other key, the misunderstood key to stoicism and stoicism and this theme, it does repeat through a lot of different religions as well, or belief systems. In the Bhagavad Gita they talk about stuff like this too, but it's about just being weathering the storm either way. And even when it's like ecstasy and joy and a lot of fun, you still got to kind of remember to stay
Hmm.
grounded in reality. And it's funny because I used to do that a lot before I even got into this spirituality, before I became a wizard, if you will, in the early days of Brandolph. I was Brandolph young. And I realized one day that I'm like, you know what? There's always going to be these bad things that happen and these good things that happen, or I should say, there's always going to be these things that I don't want or I don't prefer to happen. And there's going to be things that I happen that I do prefer to happen that are going to be a lot of fun. And when the things were happening that were a lot of fun, I would try to stay grounded and remember that, if these other things are going to happen, it's going to go not so well. And I would notice like I'd have a full day where like everything would go wrong, quote unquote.
Right.
This is back when I worked at a car dealership. Yeah, I worked in the service department. I mean, I've held every job at a car dealership from like manager to almost lot boy. But anyway, when I was in the service department for a while, they were customers would come in with their new car with problems and start screaming, and sometimes, and now that I know about like the stars and astrology or whatever it is, I could see the patterns, especially in the collective unconscious, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't get it at that time. So I'm like, oh, it's just a bad day. So I would tell myself, I'm like, all right, today's a bad day. It's going to be better tomorrow. But the more important thing really that we should focus on is today's a good day. Tomorrow we might not think is going to be, it might be a bad day. We might think it's going to be a bad day, but we just have to remember. And that's really what that yin and yang symbol, yang, if you will. I really love that balance. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of just the key to all of this. And like you said, man, we're all going to punch out one of these days anyway, right? Like, I mean, what are you going to fear? And, to quote the first book of Dune, I don't know what chapter. I got to learn the chapter in the line so I could just be like, to quote from the first book of Dune,
Page
chapter
37,
11,
line 36.
thou shalt not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that causes total annihilation. I will face my fear. I will allow it to pass over and through me. And when the fear is gone, only I will remain. Or no, I'll turn the inner eye to see its path, and there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Yep.
I can see myself. I should just go do that at open mics and get a recording and make it look like I'm doing it in front of like the
Totally.
Dune.
You got to wear the worst still suit out costume you could find, like a real baggy still suit. Just
Yeah, like a sold out Fremen in
yeah.
the later days. Yeah, you guys get
Yep.
it.
A museum friend.
Yeah, the
But
music Fremen, exactly. Go ahead,
yeah,
go.
fear is the little death. And one of the other things that Frank Herbert said on fear is the man who doesn't fear only dies once. Because a man who fears dies a little every time he fears. It stops his decision making and causes him to be incapable of thinking, which, they establish in like what, chapter 2, the difference between a human being and an animal in a human skin is the ability to stop and think, to not just move on impulse. And there you go. That's the very first lesson on Wizardry 101, right? To be able to control your own mind and your own emotions, especially fear. But yeah, it totally blocks your ability to even make decisions. So let's freak out about the sky. The sky is falling, you guys. And
Heard
somewhere
that.
in somewhere
Sorry.
in Texas, um, gun-toting Texans. I'm a gun toter myself. I'm just not a Texan, so it's a little bit of a different mythos we got going on. But gun toting Texans, every eclipse, it's part of their religion to try to shoot the moon away from the sun to scare it off, which is kind of funny because it goes back to old Viking times where the eclipse would happen and the warriors would scream, give it a fierce battle cry, and they're terrified, right? Because they have stories of the death of Balder. Uh, the sun is one of the greatest gods in the court of the Vanir. So it's kind of important that the sun comes back. So you get out there and you scream at it until the sun is revealed again and Balder is reborn. And they would take it as a great achievement and a win. And we still have that tradition carrying on in Texas today as they just unload their pistols at the moon.
I love that idea. You know, I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, I should I kind of put a clickbaity title, guys. I should say, could this information save your life? Probably not. You know what we're going to say today, but
Who
it may
knows?
could. Hey, maybe it could, especially what we said about that stoicism stuff. I mean, I think that's just so underrated. It's
You know
it's
what? Maybe they were going to get hit by a car if they didn't stay home and watch this. So who knows? This might have saved tens of lives,
yeah, tens
maybe even ones of lives.
of ones of tens of lives. I think it did. I think we're out here saving lives. And I prepared this special Eclipse animation, if you will. So I'm gonna focus on myself, and you could sit back. Yeah, I'm gonna pin myself here, and I'm gonna sit back and do my little. Oh, I'm already pinned. I don't have to pin. All right. So we have is my little animation. I hope this does it's gonna make my eye big. Oh yeah, look at that.
Dude, I'm gonna get a picture of that and show all the truthers, and they'll think you're a adrenochrome user for sure.
Look at, I mean, shout out to Wisdom of the Ages in Simsbury, Connecticut, because they're like this crystal store, and there's this guy that they know. He's this older man who's getting rid of his collection that he's had for tens of years now, probably like since the 60s or 70s. All right, so here's my simulation. Right here's the sun. Wait, you know what?
Oh
I
shit,
got a better idea.
the
I
gods are
got a
bad.
I got a better idea here. That's a good because that's too small. Here we have the planet of Arrakis.
Okay,
Dune, Arrakis, desert planet. And then this is what's going to happen later today, guys. Oh, the reflection's killing me.
we got Death Star. Oh
That's no
no!
move.
Oh no!
Scream, everybody, shoot it. And then look, watch. This is probably what's going to happen. Then Dune, Arrakis, desert planet, or the sun is going to come back out. That's my guys. I worked tirelessly on that animation GIF image. That's actually real life. That was real. We could tell people that was real. If you want to
Mm,
clip that, want to play that, that was a
that
real.
was really good.
That was real. That's all I could say.
Yeah, it brought some
Um,
inspiration.
yeah, it totally did. But I like to get back to what we were talking about. We do have some information on everybody. We have some information on the eclipse that we are going to disclose, and this is stuff that no one's talking about. So I did put that in the description, and that is true. I mean, whether this information could save your life or not, that's up to you. I think it's saving everyone's life who's watching this. But that's my dharma is to save everybody, to save the
Yeah,
world. That's what I'm doing.
it's a good path. It's a good path.
Yeah, but so we are going to disclose some information, but before we do that, of course, I'm going to use this time in these eyes that we have to talk a little more about this kind of idea of death and fear and different ways, because I got open to this stuff and I started meditating. That's what really helped me. Now, I'm not a meditation salesman. I don't think meditation is for everybody. Maybe it is for you, but for me, I thought it was something different than what it was. I thought you had to like clear your mind of everything and just be blank and be like, which I could never do because I just have all these, all the time, random thoughts. But I found what it is really is when you sit there for 10 or 20 minutes a day, you sit there in a quiet room, um, you know, all quiet or whatever, and you try to focus on something. And I think I was focusing on my breathing. And what happens is a thought pops up, oh no, it's almost tax day. We got a week next week, everybody. Shout out to the IRS. You guys, I love the IRS. They really are. We'll talk about that another time. But whatever it is that might be bothering you, like I gotta go pay some things later. Or I have to the eclipse is coming and it's gonna kill me, or whatever it is, all these things that we have fears of. Does this woman like me? Am I gonna be alone for the rest of my life? What am I going to eat later? I think, have I changed my oil? Isn't that due soon? And what you do is when these thoughts come in, you're in the middle of this flow, and then you're like, oh, wait, I was meditating. And you just go, okay, take a breath, right? And you just let those thoughts go. And now immediately other thoughts could start coming, and you just do this thing where you let them go. Oops. And they come back and you let them go. And what you do is you're kind of doing an exercise. You're like you're pumping weights, you're just exercising your mind. And what I found was that whole practice later on helped me later on in life. Later, I just like to say later at the end of the day. That's my other saying I say all the time. But really, when I was at the store or wherever I was and I was lost in my own thoughts, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm just lost in my own thoughts. And another benefit of this is if I take too many edibles allegedly sometime, or like I'm doing mushrooms or something, and you start to, even if you just smoke a little marijuana, a little of the devil's lettuce, sometimes people get paranoid. It's this feeling comes over. I'm labeled paranoid. But I found what happens is you just start focusing on the wrong thing, and you're just thinking about, and then, why am I thinking about these negative things that can happen? And with the meditation muscle that I exercised, I was able to say, oh, wait a minute, it's just a thought. I can let it go. And then I could focus on whatever I want. Oh, wow. Wait, I could focus on my mind on whatever I want. Isn't that amazing? And it's something that happens slowly. And it really is like working out. Like I go
Yeah.
through this time in my life where I was a little overweight. I lost some weight and then I went to the gym, and it took a while. It took like 6 months to a year to really get some results. But when I did it, it worked out. And it's the same thing. You're not going to do it once or twice and get results. And I feel like there's a lot of resistance to it because when you are alone with your own thoughts, a lot of these negative things pop up in your life that you don't want to deal with. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, I used to turn on the TV or music or podcasts to kind of distract myself. But I think quiet time is important and because of it. And that's what helped me to see this, you know?
I agree. I agree. Dune has a interesting exercise in it. I think it's the third book, maybe the fourth, but they're trying to teach somebody how to use the Bene Gesserit witchery kind of stuff, which is basically the ability to control one's own self, down to your own metabolism and self function. But one of the first mental exercises that they gave this person was to, look at his hand until he could has it memorized in his head, and then to change in his own mind, change his hand from being how it is now to being very young, and then change it to look very old, to watch the wrinkles begin to form and set in, and the creases and the changes in the structure of the hand, and then bring it back to the hand of a child, and then bring it back to yourself. And that practice is like, I read that book and I'm like, hey, this is really cool. I wonder how that works. I mean, bare minimum, you could practice mental discipline, right? With like, visualization, you could kind of work on your imagination muscle a little bit. And I've just been having such a good time with that sort of thing. That's really helped with visualization in a fun way. Like not like I'm gonna astral travel right now, but like coming up with cool stories in your head of maybe you don't need a Brandon Sanderson if you've got an incredible imagination that's had some practice as an adult. And, but we'll always
Maybe
need Frank Herbert.
we will. Yeah. The Church of Frank Herbert.
Mm.
Yeah, I like what you said because that is so true. We're going to turn this into a Dune commercial because how could we not? But
Everything's a Dune commercial.
it really
It
is.
just doesn't know it is.
It just doesn't know it is. The other day I was watching the mailman drive down the street, and my cat was across the street. It's kind of like it's a dead end, really slow, but the cat was fine. But then a dump truck, or no, what was it, like a garbage truck or Amazon truck came, and the cat ran right across the street, and it was like, this is a Dune commercial. All right, everybody, that was my no, but
That's perfect.
the reason that for no reason at all, I just because everybody, you can wonder about that. But
Gonna be
yeah,
scouring books.
the when you're reading the characters from their point of view and you get to see all these exercises that they do, I mean, it really is amazing. Like that hand exercise is a really good one. Like what you said before about distinguishing humans from animals. Are you just an animal in a human body? And all that really comes back to is, do you have control of your own mind? And
Hmm.
from time to time, I think we can all succumb to fear or lose control or whatever. But if it's a daily thing, think about the stress and the cortisol and everything that you're subjecting yourself to. And then also, we talked about adrenaline addiction before a lot. And I think that it is something that people become addicted to and they don't realize it's like this vicious cycle, this loop that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Dune, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, so I didn't get introduced to Dune till like my mid 40s. So I would only just imagine what would happen if I read that as a kid. I guess I'm glad I didn't because I'm sure my life would have had a totally different, trajectory. Um, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be that way, right? I was meant to come across these things later when I already had a greater understanding of like religion and what it was. And
Mhm.
one other thing too I'll say about Dune is it does have like a it's kind of a bummer if you the whole series
Yeah.
is kind of a bummer. That's what I realized. But I feel like, yeah, if you could adjust your own mental space when you're reading, it's the same thing with the world because you could look out the
Yeah,
world and
exactly.
like this is a bummer, man. Like who's our president? Or like they're talking about what and they want to shoot people with who and like put these injections and
They're
you
bringing
could really
who in where?
yeah,
Like, yeah, there's so much, but life. It's how it goes.
it's the beauty. And I think that taken as a whole, even if you're not like a fan of Brandon Sanderson or whatever, if you see the ending of it, it does end in a really I mean it's kind of utopian, maybe we could get into
Yeah.
that, whatever. But it does have like a bright side kind of thing where spoiler alert guys, and I'm gonna ruin this, or maybe I shouldn't ruin this, but it's possible that machines and man find a way to coexist, and uh,
Fish and men can learn to be friends, as a former president once said.
who was that?
Bush.
That's, you know what? I love George W. Bush because I feel like he really, people talk about like Andy Kaufman and like
Oh
Tim.
yeah. Oh,
And let me tell you something. George W. Bush has got to be my favorite. Uh, Hang on, I'll think of the word. Buffoon,
yeah.
right? Court jester, if you will, as
Well,
the leader, right?
it was nuts. It was not. He was so prior to events 9/11, prior to 9/11, but prior to 9/11, the dude was like on it. He seemed like he's got it together. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got it straight. 9/11 happens. He becomes a monkey. For the rest of his presidency, he's a monkey. And then he gets out of office and now he's got it back together again. He's like a normal dude again. It's like he just literally went Andy Kaufman for the rest of his presidency.
I, yeah, oh man, George W. Bush. And the funny thing is, he was such a conduit for hate or love, but like he's just out there pulling pranks.
And isn't that what this is right here? This little thing. It's the eclipse itself, right? I think part of the reason why people are so terrified of the concept of it is because when you think about the occult nature of that symbol, of when you see something that looks like that in symbolism, you're usually working with like a black sun, a representation of the abyss, a representation of the black goddess. It has this innate return to mother thing, which is kind of de facto death. It is implied in the sense that it's that black hole, the drawing in from which nothing of you can escape, but your essence is passed through to the other side. And that's the whole, I don't know, that's what I see when I look at like the picture in my background right now. And it has that sort of feel to the eclipse. Oh, this mystical black hole portal. And but yeah, I remember my first eclipse, dude. I remember my first eclipse, and it was a real big deal. Things were I was see, I was 17 and and I had never like been out really without my parents or anything before. And one day I couldn't get it to start. And I was having trouble getting it to start from the very beginning. And it just slowly began to become more and more unreliable. And then one day it just wouldn't start at all, and I had to jump it every single time I wanted to start the car. But once it got going, it was fine. Um, at least for a little bit until it, you know, really got going. But then it got to the point where not even a jump, like as soon as you take off the cables, the thing would just die. And so This was the first eclipse mystery I ever had, was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And it turned out that, it's true that we are more terrified of the things that we don't understand, the things that we don't know anything about. It scares us worse than if we, have an awareness of how the inner workings of a thing actually function. Um, yeah, as I got older, I look back on this moment. I'm like, dude, that was so easy. But really, it was just I could have figured this out if I, had spent some time and actually learned the occult workings of the eclipse. But it turned out the alternator had gone out. It was an 87, and I really liked it. Little hatchback, like hatchbacks are so cool for young people because it's just I always loved the idea of it, and I liked hatchbacks until I had like a family, or wanted to get a girlfriend. It was one of those. Um, yeah, so if like you want to make a family, you kind of should get away from the hatchback look. But it's cool when you're young, right? Like throw a surfboard on top of that and it just looks neat, like a nice little eclipse. But anyway, I finally took the time. It was only like $380, which is like a lot at the time. Inflation's really changed the world. So that's like probably $1,200 these days. Because this
Yeah.
was this was like 2001, 2000, something like that. And
Was it September in 2001?
it might have been. It was a tumultuous era, right? It probably had something to do with that damn eclipse that I kept in my driveway.
I
Like a
bet it did.
dark omen. Oddly enough, the thing was white, but it was like it was so old that the paint was like flaking off. So you can tell it was like sinking into itself is what it looked like. It was like some weird vortex of an eclipse. And I've never forgotten that. I've never forgotten how really simple it was to do this. And I even did it without the tool to be able to pull whatever pulley you need to be able to replace the belt. I put the new belt on by hand. That was not fun because I didn't know that that tool existed. I didn't know that that was an option. And so there's so many of these like little details that cause us fear and anxiety in things such as the eclipse. And we get so worried about, you know, how are we going to pay for this? What if it's the transmission? What if it's, like I don't know shit about cars at the time. So, man, but knowing what I know now, it really does give a sense of stoicism. And maybe that's part of where stoicism comes from, is from experience, right? Of having to like get elbow deep in motor oil and just tinker around with this thing until you get it, you know and it is really helpful to have like an older person who's had experience with this being able to say that sounds like the alternator, bro. And you're like, really? Okay, that's a lot cheaper than anything else I thought it was. And replace that and it worked like a charm. It's pretty cool. So eclipses, man, like,
That
they seem pretty reliable, but really, I mean, I don't know how well it was maintained before I got to it, is the thing. But shortly after I did that alternator, I had to replace it with something else because the whole thing went out. It started making terrible noises and shooting black smoke. So I think something really bad happened. But yeah, but that was my first eclipse.
that's amazing. What was this? Was the black smoke obscuring things?
It might have been. It kind of like occulted the back of the car, and I'd hate to
Yeah,
be the person driving behind me, you know? Like
the whole
that's
view.
something to think about, you guys. Don't follow wizards. Don't follow wizards. That's stupid. Like, do you want to be able to see anything? Because they just pour black smoke out the tail end. That's all you got. Like, you
You
better
shouldn't
hope they've been,
directly.
yeah, you hope they've been feeding their engine marijuana because that's the only way you're going to get a pleasure out of this.
That's a special kind of a green wizard. Everybody, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
stare directly at the eclipse, right? Because
Yep.
and the thing you said about the paint flecking, I mean, it's amazing because I tell people all the time that symbolism exists everywhere in nature.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and an eclipse is part of nature, right? Even if
Hmm.
say it's man-made. Some people think eclipses are man-made, but
Everything of man is part of nature. This is what people don't understand. Like it just takes a little bit of a readjustment away from scientism, and you realize that man is nature. Like, or else why would he have such an awesome beard, right? Look at you.
thank you. And you yourself, my friend. I actually have a picture of a total eclipse. So we're gonna start our information. We're gonna share some information, and then we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna keep this short. Again, shout out to everybody that's in the chat, by the way, because we had like I think we had up to like 20 people. That's amazing. I hope you guys are getting some good stuff out of this. I hope this live stream is gonna save your life one day. I think it might. But here's their picture of a total eclipse. Right now, get back to work,
Oh
everybody.
man.
Okay.
Ah, that's a bummer.
I
You
like
know,
how somebody
see,
drew on.
I almost forgot, but that was such a cool feature, dude. It was cool for a minute, but it was really annoying. It's sort of like the door handles on the Tesla that when someone's burning to death inside, you can't open it, you know? Um, it's sort of like that, but that damn seatbelt that was like, cool, go on, get in the car, and then it just closes for you.
Yeah,
Like, I can't tell you how many times I was like reaching for something and that seatbelt starts closing, and I'm like, stop, stop, and it's just annoying. But that was in the beginning. I thought, what a cool thing. Look, it puts the seatbelt on you. And yeah, that was neat. But
the best. Go ahead.
sometime there was this one time where I'll just say it. I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I can do. It's like a total eclipse of the heart.
Total eclipse of the heart. I was gonna say about that seatbelt feature. You know how you could tell it was a mistake because I remember that seatbelt feature being in most. I remember when it wasn't in cars, and then I remember when it was new and all the cars had it, and then I remember when it went away and everybody was so happy,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
those because the those coupes, the hatchbacks, the eclipses. We'll just get right into it. The doors were so huge, right? That
yeah.
all
Yep.
right. That the seatbelt just stretched across your there's no way to not get choked out by it. All right, so this is our cutting edge information, everybody. We're gonna study in depth the eclipse, okay? Because we don't want you to have any fear of the eclipse. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But I think something that's very interesting is right here. Look, the model years from 1990 to 2012, even though they made it in 2011, model years run ahead for 22 years.
Right, right.
It ran and stopped in 2012. That's the key, right? Because think of all the hype behind 2012. The
Dude,
world was supposed to
2012.
end, right?
Yep.
It's not that all this stuff was going to happen in 2012. Could it be that it was the eclipse that caused all this stuff to happen?
Huh. I wonder I wonder if there's any I don't know. I will have to do this another time, but I gotta look up the root Greek word of uh going from Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
I wonder what that means in the original Greek.
Here,
Uh
let's see. Let's see if let's see if we could figure it out. Let's see if Google tells us. There we go. Mitsubishi in Greek. Oops, real, not real. That's our new word. The history in Greek. No, come on. We don't want to. James Mitsubishi Greece. That's a person. Here we
there we
go.
go.
We figured it out.
Dude, we tied it all together.
Oh,
He's not interested. What?
it's all about James. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, geez. That's not James.
No. Can this guy truly be James? Is this
Like
possible?
the Mitsubishi James?
Look at all this cutting edge research we do here on the Brandon Bonanza Show. Everybody, look more about the logo. All right, here we go.
It's all about the logos.
It is.
They say God is logos.
Ooh, here we go. Mitsu means three. Hishu means water chestnut. Whoa, look at
Whoa. Whoa.
chestnut. The Japanese have used the word for a long time to denote a rhombus or diamond
Have
shape.
you, let's remove the, have used word for long time to,
Oh yeah, Japanese have used Japanese have used word long time for long time. Right. Good thing you're reading. I'm just, oh, there it
Oh,
is. Look, I can't
oh,
highlight.
look at that. That's jokes aside, that's actually cool to know.
Yeah, yeah. A joke? I'm being serious here. How dare you?
Uh,
We're not friends anymore. No.
nope. The PS platform.
Oh, look at this. Some more information. According to Mitsubishi Motors, the unbeaten 18th century horse. Oh, let's look up at this Eclipse horse.
What? Oh, the plot
What?
thickens.
Who ever see? We told you. Look at no one's talking about this eclipse.
Wow. And look, it was chestnut. The color was chestnut.
The plot thickens.
Dude.
See, I think this just proves that you could find whatever, like whatever time you're looking for something, you could just find crazy. And
He
look, it
won
was sold.
18 races and 11 Kings play 1811. I wonder what happened in that year. Hmm.
Yeah, 18 starts, 18 wins. Hmm. 18, 18. That's not
Hmm.
too occulted, right? 81, 81. That's like plus 7 heats. Okay. Yeah, we
Dude.
get it. Someone's talking to us. Look at all these numbers. That's crazy. But April 1st, there we go. That's another
Oh,
1760.
dude. You
April
know, you gotta every time it's April 1st, it's almost like you gotta think about it. Because it could just be part of the reset narrative.
we're getting deep here. I don't.
Hmm. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up reset narrative because when you talk about reset narratives and adrenochrome and arrests, you give truthers a massive fear boner, and I don't want to do that.
Arrests. Oh, I think we just solved it, everybody. It was at this stud, his sire, the Jockey Club plate winner, Marsk by Squirt. There it is.
Squirt.
By Squirt from the Ruby Mare. There it is, the Squirt. Let's click on Squirt and see what we find. Squirt horse. Sorry, guys.
The
I didn't know
squirt
this show
horse.
was going to take this kind of turn. I
You never
apologize.
know with these things. It's what makes it so surprising.
Sister to old country wench. All right. Wikipedia, what are you doing? This is just
What?
squirt and wenches.
Oh, dude, damn
I
sire
don't
is snake.
appreciate this. What's that?
The damn sire was snake.
Oh, snake. Oh, there we go. The snake swallowing the sun, right? And then
Yeah. Yep.
oh, and you can't click on it either. Oh,
Wow. They've
there,
obfuscated that information, dude.
they did obfuscate that. All right, that's enough of squirt. I want to get back to the oops. Death? What the heck just happened? I just clicked out. All right, you know what? That's
Eclipse
let's
die. Oh,
colic.
that
Uh
sucks. That's a bad way to go.
24. Yeah.
What
Oh,
kind of
go ahead, go ahead.
interesting though, colic. It's what it is like, they'll eat a bunch of usually stuff they shouldn't eat, really sweet things or dense things, and it'll actually compact in their gut. And so in an effort to get their guts moving again, they'll lay on the floor and thrash. And
Ah,
what'll happen is their intestines will twist inside of their gut cavity. And terrible way to go. When that happens, you have the option to either put the horse down humanely or do surgery, of which the horse will never be the same again from. So, I mean, really, you would only do surgery on a horse with colic if you planned on studying it out, because it's not going to run anymore. After that, it's just a
yeah, or unless you're really good friends with the horse, or if that horse is an actor, like Mr. Ed, if he got a colic, they'd probably try to
dude.
save him.
If Mr. Ed had colic, he'd be able to just tell people like, "Hey, my stomach hurts,
Hey,
Wilbur."
Wilbur, give me a taco. I don't know. I just want to bring up one more thing. I want to bring back to us because we were talking, but uh, so look at this part, right? Okay, so necropsy on Eclipse. Okay, so they're doing an. I can't use the internet, guys. I'm so sorry. Here, there we go. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Really? Oh, if you click here, oh, okay. I thought, never mind. So a necropsy on Eclipse, which in itself is just, why are you going to even put that? But what I wanted to do is say that he had a
Whoa.
normally large heart, 14 pounds, right? Well, here I'll highlight the kilograms for our British friends or everyone else in the rest of the world.
You think it's possible that that Eclipse maybe saved Christmas at one point?
I think it's really possible.
Because I hear you get like an oversized heart when you save Christmas. Like that's one of the symptoms of having done that.
I think it's totally true. And I think that's exactly what happened. You know what it was? The reindeer Blitzen got colic,
Okay. Oof.
and
Oof.
Eclipse stepped in, and because his name was Eclipse, he was able to soar in the sky, and he saved Christmas.
It's pretty
Little
epic.
little known fact, everybody. I know I hear these things. Listen, guys, but what I wanted to do is share something else. No one is sharing the skeleton of Eclipse. Okay, guys, this is the skeleton of Eclipse, and you're getting exclusive Brandon Bonanza with my good friend Sarkastik Worlock. By the way, thank you so much for being here like last minute, and you're the best. But no one else is talking about this. Look, it says it right there. I mean, look at this. I'll just zoom in here. Look, because we can. It's the internet. Look at that eye, right?
Wow.
Look at those haunches. Am I right? I mean, no wonder why this thing in the tail.
Look
I
at
don't
that.
know. Horses. It is. Oops. It is a really cool.
Scientists these days will see that and say that's uh, a perfectly built dinosaur skeleton, and they'll name it. They'll give it a name like Eclipse, the dinosaur,
Eclipsosaurus Rex.
Eclipsosaurus Rex.
Well, everybody, that's been the cutting information that you weren't going to see anywhere else. It could save your life. Okay. You
Could
could,
it could
yeah,
might have already.
we
Just
probably should
remember,
have not to eat or drink. Go ahead. Go ahead.
just remember that the majority of spousal murders are done through poison. So don't forget that. And we go on with life from there, stoically, eating our soup with a pure heart. Okay. Because, like, you can change your metabolism with your own mind to circumvent the poison. I do it every day. So I'm still here. You guys got this. It's just an eclipse. You step on the gas, it goes. You step on the brakes, it stops. I don't understand why we need to freak out about everything. It's going to be okay.
That's right. And they make a convertible model. If you just can't be caged in, I get it. It's tough to be in this. I can't be
Yep.
confined. You get the convertible, and then you're in nature. You're
Yep.
literally driving creation of God, of nature. We talked about the eclipse. Listen, it's all God. It's either it's good or it's bad, but it's all made by the creator,
Yep.
and then you're in the creation, and you can even have a bird shit on you, which is like the best good luck ever.
That's literally what Saint Bonavere said in 1290. Just that.
I know. Duh. I mean, come on. I'm a reincarnation of Saint Bonavere. Didn't you know this? That's why I wore my.
Yeah, I noticed. I noticed right away. Your Saint Bonavere cross.
That's right. Well, since it's Eclipse Day, we're going to be wrapping this up. But I don't want to. If I'm going to go out the same way I came in, so I'm going to put away the lovely guys. Get your last look, all right, at these lovely locks, because if it really is the end of the world, this is the last time you're going to see them. Of course, it's
Guys,
going to be. I mean, it's going to be in heaven. No, they'll be in heaven.
yeah. Yep. His locks are going to heaven. Just his locks, though.
So, what you got? Anything you want to talk about? Promote? You were talking about some Manly Pete Hall stuff before we got going. Some videos
Oh,
you put
yeah. I
up.
got
From that.
a finished book up on my YouTube channel. It's about the only thing, in fact, it is the only thing on my YouTube channel. There's a
Link
Manly
below.
Pete
Link
Hall
below.
book. If audiobook, I made the whole thing with a Manly P. Hall voice model, AI voice model. So now there is Manly P. Hall doing a reading of a Manly P. Hall book that exists that Manly P. Hall never did. So I feel both proud and horrified that this has been done. And so, if you would like to partake in the glorious, um, I don't know, kickoff of the singularity, um, check out my YouTube channel, and you could find my Manly P Hall book. I'm working on something else that I won't be able to post on YouTube because it's far too old. It's way too old to be okay with today's sensibilities. I'll have to find some place to put that, and I'll let Brandon know. And love you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, we could come. You can come back and we could talk about it. Even we just put a link when you come back. I think
Yeah. Oh, all right. That'd
that's
be
great.
fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm almost far too old for YouTube. How dare me?
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
there
They're
was
so
something else,
sensitive. They're so sensitive. There's no stoicism in YouTube.
right?
Shame.
Yeah, it's great though. You know, YouTube, I love you. Just keep promoting my videos. You're great. Speaking of what we have here on my lovely YouTube channel that I'm so proud of, check out the Over Sharon show, everybody. Myself and Sharon. Sarkastik's been on there before. Also been on my show. Go check those episodes out. We just did an episode about Bigfoot. Bigfoot is mentioned in the Law of One. If you're familiar with the Ra material or the Law of One, they did mention Bigfoot, so we broke that down. Really interesting. Check out that. Check out my website, morelawsmoreproblems.com, and make sure you check out the Eclipse. Now, remember, we're not telling you what to do. We don't know if you should look at it, not look at it, whatever, but we're just telling you that the windows roll up, the windows roll down, you hit the horn, it beeps. That's all the normie stuff. Like everybody
Yeah.
knows about the horn, right? But the occulted knowledge is the alternator. I mean, how does this even work? What is it alternating? Current, AC, DC,
Yep.
back in black, I mean, she shook me all night long. Anyway, it's all occulted information that's inside the eclipse that you don't need to know about how it works. You just find a professional like me or like this guy over here. He's a professional and we'll tell you what to do. That's like just send us your money. Morelawsmoreproblems.com, guys. There's plenty of links. Just send us
I
all your
just
money.
I got one more thing. I know I talked shit about the eclipse earlier, but if you have an eclipse and you have Riz, you can pull some bad bitches. It's just I did not have Riz at the time, so maybe that was the issue.
Yeah. You need the booming speakers in your trunk and the shiny wheels.
I
That's
actually did. I had the Boomin speakers, giant subwoofer, and everything. The speaker system was probably worth more than the car itself, which
but
I blame my
I
father for.
but the thing is you're driving around playing like Bach and like,
Hmm.
Tchaikovsky. You got to play like, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back or something. You can't,
Yeah, yeah.
my Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns
None.
on.
Yeah.
I think that's where you went wrong.
Probably.
But that's
Probably.
the, I never had an eclipse, but anytime I was in an eclipse, I had a friend. We always had a great time. So that's why it was different.
That's
You were
good.
time in your life, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
anyway, all you got to do is send us all your money, and you'll be fine for this eclipse. Everybody, just shoot it over, and I'll do my little crystal magic, and you'll be good to go. But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys in chat for sticking around to the end. This was amazing, so much fun. And we look forward to having Mr. Sarkastik Worlock back again soon to talk about his projects and what he's up to. And this week, tomorrow and Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Brandon Bonanza episodes. So check those out. I'm going to have Joe and Jeff back to do a propaganda episode tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Jeff and I are going to be talking about the Bene Gesserit of Dune. So make sure you
Ooh.
zoom in on that. Yes. Two INTPs in the same Zoom room talking. So it should be fun. All right, guys. Remember, have fun today. Stay safe. And I'm going to play my little excuse me, song so we can get us out of here. and we'll see you soon.